Welcome to this week's edition of ClarkCountyToday.com's weekly news update, bringing you the top stories from across Clark County, Washington. Here are the headlines making waves this week. Interstate Bridge Replacement Program stirs controversy. The release of a portion of the Draft Supplemental Environmental Impact Statement (DSEIS) for the Interstate Bridge Replacement (IBR) program has stirred controversy after being disclosed via a public records request by the Just Crossing Alliance (JCA). The documents, though incomplete, reveal extensive property impacts, including 40 single-family residences in Vancouver and 35 floating homes on Hayden Island slated for potential acquisition. Hayden Island is particularly affected, with up to 35 floating homes facing displacement. Criticisms abound, with opponents like Bob Ortblad denouncing the project's credibility and environmental impact. Amid these revelations, the publication of the DSEIS has been delayed yet again, adding to doubts about the project's future and cost implications. The IBR program aims to address rising traffic demands and freight volumes, but skepticism persists over its proposed solutions and their ramifications on affected communities. Republican infighting over Joe Kent's endorsement. Local resident Mark Moore recently expressed intense frustration over Joe Kent's endorsement of Jaime Herrera Beutler in her campaign for Washington Commissioner of Public Lands. Moore, who originally engaged in politics to oppose Herrera Beutler due to her vote to impeach President Trump, highlighted his disappointment with Kent's support, emphasizing ongoing Republican infighting and the need for party unity. He raised questions about how voters in the 3rd Congressional District will respond to Kent's endorsement and called on Herrera Beutler to encourage her Republican opponent, Leslie Llewellyn, to withdraw from the race, demonstrating her commitment to party cohesion. The upcoming election in November will determine whether Kent replaces current Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, and how Herrera Beutler will navigate this endorsement remains to be seen. On patrol to curb distracted driving. During Distracted Driving Awareness Month in April, law enforcement agencies in Clark County, including the Vancouver Police Department, are intensifying patrols to target distracted drivers. Officer Sean Donaldson, positioned prominently in a marked SUV on Main Street, Battleground, made multiple stops within just over an hour, citing drivers for phone use behind the wheel. Despite fines and education efforts, many offenders remain oblivious to the dangers, with Officer Andy Marvitz of the Ridgefield Police Department noting the pervasive belief that distracted driving is victimless. The enforcement campaign aims to prevent accidents and change behavior, underscoring the lethal consequences of divided attention on the road. Washington State's economic outlook slips. Washington State's economic outlook has slipped to number 37 in the nation, according to the latest Rich States, Poor States report by the American Legislative Exchange Council. The ranking cites Washington's high tax burden and rising labor costs as key factors in this decline, marking a drop of 3 spots from last year's ranking. Notably, the state's estate tax, sales tax burden, and wage floor contributed to its lower position, with Washington boasting the highest state minimum wage in the U.S. at $16.28 per hour. Despite these challenges, Washington holds top positions for personal income tax rates and tax expenditure limitations. Employment Security Department economist Paul Turek expressed reservations about the report's criteria, emphasizing the importance of understanding how tax revenues support economic growth and employment. Arrest made in drive-by shootings. A 23-year-old Vancouver man, Aleksey Suturin, has been arrested and charged with multiple offenses following a spree of drive-by shootings targeting churches and vehicles across Vancouver. The incidents, which occurred early Tuesday morning, involved gunfire at Seventh-day Adventist Church and Kesed Columbia Church, resulting in property damage but no injuries reported. Suturin was apprehended after a pursuit on Interstate 5, where deputies discovered him wearing body armor and carrying multiple ammunition magazines. He faces charges including drive-by shooting, malicious mischief, attempted eluding, and reckless driving. The investigation remains ongoing under the supervision of the Clark County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit. Sean McDonald takes helm at Mountain View. Sean McDonald, a championship football coach known for his success at Colima and Woodland, is set to take on a new challenge as he assumes the head coaching position at Mountain View High School in Vancouver. McDonald, who secured 3 state titles at Kalama and led Woodland to a league championship last season, expressed excitement about coaching at the 3A-4A level and admired the foundation laid by former coach Adam Mathewson at Mountain View. McDonald's decision to leave Woodland was difficult, given the community's support and the team's recent success. At Mountain View, McDonald plans to bolster participation and enthusiasm for football among players while emphasizing building strong relationships. With a focus on winning and a commitment to reconnecting players to the sport, McDonald aims to elevate Mountain View's football program to new heights. Calls for tax relief in Olympia. Elizabeth New, of the Washington Policy Center, has criticized Olympia lawmakers for their failure to prioritize broad-based tax relief in Washington state, particularly during times of surplus and high inflation. New argues that while the state enjoys a budget surplus, taxpayers are not benefiting from this excess, facing increased inflation and additional payroll taxes. She points out missed opportunities like Senator Linda Wilson's proposal for tax relief, which was dismissed despite potential benefits for workers, homeowners, and businesses. New advocates for tax cuts, citing the positive economic outcomes seen in states that have implemented similar measures, contrasting Washington's approach unfavorably with Oregon's surplus refund system. She emphasizes the urgent need for legislative action to ease the tax burden on Washingtonians. Don't forget to visit clarkcountytoday.com for more in-depth coverage and updates on these stories and more. Join the conversation, share your opinions, and participate in our latest poll. Do you support Joe Kent's endorsement of Jaime Herrera Beutler for Washington's Commissioner of Public Lands? Your voice matters. Want to share more? Send a letter to the editor at ken.v@clarkcountytoday.com. Your perspective matters. Join the conversation at clarkcountytoday.com today. That wraps up this week's news highlights. Tune in next time for another episode of clarkcountytoday.com's news podcast. Thank you for listening.